Hello, we are Group 9. We made this video to present you with information about the Middle Ages, or what scholars prefer to call the Dark Ages. They call it this way because they think that calling it the Middle Ages incorrectly assumes that this period was sandwiched between two or more prominent epochs. The Middle Ages started from the ashes of the Renaissance and the Roman Empire that lasted till the 1400s AD. The population in Europe had greatly declined due to the rampant invasions to expand territory and acquire not only land but also resources. The Black Plague also happened during these ages. Many people tried to explain the spreading of the plague either by blaming witchcraft or superstition. The church tried to exert control by declaring that the plague was God's doing and that it is his way of cleansing the earth of sinners and those who went against the church. This says a lot about this period. However, the exponential death tolls dampened this reasoning since the plague chose no one. May it be rich or poor, healthy or sickly, anyone was susceptible.
State of science in the Dark Ages. One of the defining features of the Middle Ages is the lack of scientific knowledge, which means scientific progress during the era was heavily stifled. The scientists and thinkers of the era were limited to the religious, that prioritized religion before science by a large margin. The church controlled power in political, cultural, academic, philosophical, economic, and virtually any aspect of medieval life. This led to a culture that justifies everything as God's will, making church officials like popes and clergymen the most influential people. As a result, the church's words were considered absolute and irrefutable. Oppositions assured punishments. The medieval intellectual elites were the clergymen. Finding answers rested solely on the Catholic Church. Well, these men were unlikely scientific. However, there still exist practical applications of science and scientific discoveries. Despite the slow growth of science, there were still noteworthy scientific discoveries that were made. Due to the rise of universities, involvement of the church in some scientific endeavors, and influence from invaders and foreigners, science still found a way to flourish during this era.
Scientific discoveries and technological inventions during the Middle Ages. Although scientific progress was slow during the Dark Ages, science still had landmarks during this period. The most notable one was Roger Bacon's formation of Scientia Experimentalis, or in more familiar terms, the scientific method. From there, a lot of discoveries were made in the sciences. During the Dark Ages, the dominant sciences were chemistry, mathematics, and astronomy. However, there were other bodies of knowledge that emerged, namely, alchemy. Alchemy was the science that dealt with creation of higher materials using lower grade ones. The alchemists during that time set the foundations for modern chemistry. Visual arts. Painting and sculpture was prominent in this period as homage to the Greek culture of art and beauty. The visual arts used light and pigments, and this led to the science of optics. Concepts in mathematics like proportions and geometry were also employed. Anatomy. The study of human body was also a huge point of interest among the thinkers. During the 15th and 16th century, artists and sculptors used human corpses as models for their drawings of the human body and its components. These drawings were crucial in the development in the field of medicine and were the foundations of modern anatomy. Chronology. During the Middle Ages, the exact date of biblical events were impossible to resolve through means during their time. This was a problem since the church had no exact reference on when to celebrate certain events like Easter and Lent. This problem led to commissioning astronomers during the 14th century to find a way to pinpoint the location of the Earth in relation to other celestial bodies during specific times of the year. This led to the discovery of the calendar, particularly the Gregorian calendar, which is now the established civil calendar used in the world. The Middle Ages gave rise to many functional technological inventions that provided a better quality of life for those who made use of this technology. As it remains to be seen, warfare served as the inspiration for many of these inventions. Some of these inventions even prompted paradigm shifts and changed the course of history. Gunpowder. This invention in particular has impacted several fields like math, chemistry, warfare, and architecture. This discovery paved the way for the invention of guns, cannons, and other firearms. Paper and the printing press. The printing press was invented in the mid-1400s by Johannes Gutenberg, who pioneered the mass production of printed materials such as books and Bibles. One of the very first publications of the printing press with a movable type metal was the Gutenberg Bible. Clocks and hourglasses. The hourglass was a common material to track time during the 8th century AD, but was eventually replaced by other timekeeping devices like sundials for voyages. Clocks were made to provide a closer structure to daily life. They are normally found in churches due to their heavy weight. Heavy plow. The discovery of the heavy plow revolutionized farming across the world in the 6th century. Food production increased dramatically during this era with the introduction of wheels and metal components to replace its predecessors. Rudders and compass. Rudders enabled use of wind and water power for voyages. Before this invention, ships were steered by oars and sails only. Compasses enabled Renaissance sailors and explorers to find bearings in the fog during exploration in land or sea. Europeans used this to navigate and explore oceans, paving the way for the age of exploration. Eyeglasses. Eyeglasses were invented in Pisa, Italy around the year 1286. They were two framed glass or crystal stones and were designed to be held to the eye by using a handle. The earliest eyeglasses had convex lenses that could correct hyperopia and presbyopia. Coffee. It was first introduced to the Ottoman Empire sometime in the 15th century and would take the Ottoman world by storm. Soon after, coffee houses would spring up everywhere, with coffee being introduced to Europe in the modern early period.